Hey girl, hey, and welcome to the Self-Love Fix podcast, where we get relatable, we share tea, and we support each other on this journey of self-love, self-worth, personal development, self-esteem, and self-care. Because why wait until it's too late to start becoming the best version of ourselves? Let's start today. And I'm your host, Beatrice. So let's get into it. Hey girl, hey, and welcome back to the Self-Love Fix. Last week we talked about the highest self and we got into what that looks like. We got into the difference between the highest self and the ego and keeping the highest self in the driver's seat, keeping the ego in the passenger along for the ride. A lot of you were telling me that oh my God, this is like giving me new perspective. Oh my gosh, I love this. I can kind of get where you're coming from. And I've just been hearing some feedback and that's really great. I hope this is making sense, because if it's not, please tell me so that I can elaborate. I know topics about the ego and the highest self are they're very elusive. I think they can be really elusive for some people. It was for me in the beginning. And it's something you can't understand on a mind level. It just kind of has to get deeper within to really, really make sense. So if you don't get it at first, it's totally okay. Sometimes it takes something else or a different perspective or a different person to tell you in a different way, and then it clicks. But hopefully I made it digestible enough to kind of get the basics of it. And this week, we are going to get into staying in the present moment and how staying present can be transformational for your life. And the title of this episode is Moment for Life. And I snagged that title from Nicki Minaj's song, Moment for Life, because this week we are going to be talking about staying present in the moment. Okay, so now that I've had my little joke for the day, you guys have got to stop me, because once I get comfortable, my personality really comes out, really jumps out. And I promise you, I'm not this kind of all 24 hours of the day. I got a bit of a funny personality. I got a little bit of character going on, but it just takes a little while for her to jump out. So the reason we talk about staying present and staying in the present moment is because that's where the highest self resides, in the present moment. And when I say that, what I mean is that all we ever have is now. And that's what I said, and I spoke about in the last episode briefly, is that you only ever have this moment. A lot of times we kind of think about things, and we think about the things that are going to happen in the future, or things that have already happened in the past, and our mind spends a lot of time on either side. And it can feel really real, like whatever happened in the past is still happening, or whatever is about to happen in the future might already be here. But really, what we really only have is now. We don't have what already happened. We don't have what's going to happen. We just have this present moment, and life becomes much more expansive when you reside in the present moment. You know, there's always this thing when people die of cherish the moments you have with them, or usually somebody that has experienced a loss will tell you, cherish the moment you have with someone. You never know when it's going to be their last day. And it's really a beautiful thing to say, but I have to say, when we say it, do we really mean it? When we tell other people that, or when we say we're going to do that, do we really mean it? Because a lot of times we're everywhere but right here. We're everywhere but right in this moment. What if we meant it though? What if we meant it every moment of our lives? And what if we were intentional with every moment of our lives? Like, it sounds cheesy, but we really do. I wouldn't say live every moment like it's your last. I think that's kind of morbid, and I wouldn't say that, but I would definitely say look at it from a different perspective and look at it as live every moment intentionally and be present with every moment, and kind of look at it as, wow, I'm grateful for this. Wow, I'm enjoying this. If it is a positive experience that's going on in that moment, instead of, oh, I have to live like it's my last. Oh, I have to be worried because it's never going to happen. We don't want to be in the anxious state of mind, but we want to be in an appreciative state of mind. Like, wow, I'm really thankful this is happening. Wow, I'm really enjoying this. An example of this, like I mentioned in the last episode, I'm a registered dietitian. And a lot of the newer dietitians are encouraging people to do something called mindful eating. And I don't know if you've ever heard of mindful eating, but it's where you are just being really present with your food, being present with your meal, kind of noticing the textures of whatever it is you're eating, noticing the color, noticing how you're feeling when you're eating, noticing when you're full, noticing when you're hungry, noticing the change in between being hungry and being full and what's going on at each and every step. That's one of the ways I myself stay really present, is when I'm eating. I try not to have my phone out. I try not to be watching anything. I just try to sit and just kind of like be present with my food, be present with my meal. In fact, when a lot of the times when I used to date people, that would be one of the things I would tell. And I think a lot of people do that, is they tell someone like, hey, can you put your phone away? Or rather, hey, can you please put your phone away? You know, I'd really like to be present with you. I'd like to just actually talk, and you want undivided attention. And that's another way of being present, right? And even in other situations with significant others, you know, when we're talking about something serious, or we're talking about something, we're talking about our day or things like that, we're always wanting that our significant other would look at us with undivided attention, because we want what? We want them to be present with us. We want them to be in this moment with us. We don't want them to be talking about things that happened before, talking about things that happened that may happen later, or we don't want them to be on their phones or watching TV. No, it's because we want them to be in the present moment and be in the space of what is happening right now, right in this moment, right? And the same thing extends to our friends. When we're telling our friends about something bad that happened, or when we're telling our friends about something that hurt our feelings, or we're venting, what do we want? We want them to be present with us. We want them to be holding space or asking questions about what is it that went on, so that we can have that space to let our feelings flow and be in that moment. And what do we feel when our friends aren't doing that, or they're not having eye contact, or holding space, or any of that? What do we feel? We don't feel good, right? We feel hurt, even, because it's important for us to have that presence. And the same thing with our families, right? When there are family events that are going on, or maybe you're playing with your little cousin or your little niece or nephew, what are you doing? You're being in that moment with them. You're not worried about what's going on outside. You know, you're not worried about in terms of like what's going on with your friends, or what's going on with your significant other or anything. You're right there in that moment with your family, whether it's Thanksgiving, you're hanging out with your cousins, or you're with your nieces and nephews, your little nieces and nephews. You're right there with them, you know, playing with Peppa Pig. That's something I do. That's something I do with my little cousin. We will sit there with Peppa Pig and George and act out our little scene, right? And I'm not on my phone or worried about what's going on outside of that, because I'm trying to be present with my little cousin right then and there. And so I brought all those things up to say, what if we took that mentality that we have when we're with our significant other and we're wanting their attention, or when we're with our friends and we're venting and we're wanting them to hold space, or to help us kind of navigate what we're going through, or when we're with our family members, our little cousins, and playing with Peppa Pig and George. You know, what if we took that mentality that we have of, I need to be right here, right now, or I want you to be right here, right now with people, and we did that with ourselves? That's what I'm trying to help you understand, is that what we do with other people and what we expect of other people, we need to be doing with ourselves. And so what it looks like when we're not staying present with ourselves is like when we're looking into the past. A lot of times we can think about bad things that have happened in our past, and it's almost like we're reliving them, or we think about things that we've done in our past and we're reliving it and kind of being stuck. That's what happens when we leap into the past. We stay stuck and we harbor those same emotions that we had then in the present, forgetting that whatever happened before has already happened, and this is a new moment and this is a new time. And so sitting in the past and staying in the past, what does that look like? Sometimes it can look like depression, because we are thinking about, oh my gosh, what did I do? It can look like shame, sitting in shame and depression. It's like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I can't believe I did that. And now you're in the present moment, feeling bad and feeling horrible, and staying in the same frame of mind that you were before, because you're not staying in the present moment and realizing, oh, okay, I did what I had done then, but that was then, and this is now. And forgetting that today is a new day, forgetting that in this present moment, it's not happening. Whatever happened before is not happening anymore. Now, what you feel is valid. It is. Whatever you feel is valid. But sitting in it and staying in it and not realizing you don't have to carry that anymore, because this is a new moment, a new time, that can keep you stuck. can also give you anxiety too. And I think I mentioned this in the last episode. If you're sitting in the past, or not sitting in the past, but ruminating on the past and things that have happened in the past, maybe some bad decisions that I can understand they're affecting you today, might give you anxiety. Like, let's say maybe you spent more money than you should have, or you've racked up some credit card debt, or just weren't being wise with your money. And yes, it happened then, but now you're facing the consequences of it now. Well, I'll tell you what, carrying shame about what happened before, about the decisions you made then, you don't have to do that, because in that time, you had a different frame of mind, completely different frame of mind than you do now. And now you realize you made a mistake, and that's okay. But it's not going to do anything for you to keep ruminating on the mistake that you made. What will do something for you is creating a plan, like a financial plan to, one, not do that again, and to two, get yourself out of that debt. Because if you can stay in the present moment, you're like, okay, well, this is going on in the present moment. I don't like that I'm racking up all this debt, or that I've racked up all this debt, and I don't like that I have to deal with it. But you know what? It's already happened. It's already happened. And now I have to deal with what's happening now and make a plan so that going forward, it doesn't look like how it looked like before. My bank situation doesn't look like how it looked like before. So just staying in the moment and figuring out what you can do now, not, oh my gosh, what have I done? What have I done? Because that's not going to help you with anything. What will help you with something is, okay, I'm here now. I'm here right now in this moment with this debt. What am I going to do about it now in this moment type thing? Hopefully that's starting to make sense. And then jumping over to the future side, if we stay too anxious about what's going on in the future, that's where a lot of the anxiety lies, is staying in the future tense, if that makes sense. It's this idea of the unknown. A lot of us don't like to not know what's going to happen. That gives a lot of people anxiety. It used to give me a lot of anxiety. It's very difficult for people to stay in the present moment, because a lot of us, it's a very human thing to want control, to want to be in control. I need to know what's happening in the future. Some people might get anxiety about not knowing if they're not going to have a long-term partner. That's a very real thing. If maybe you haven't had a partner for a while, for a year or two or more, and you're just like, okay, well, I don't know when my next partner is going to come, and I'm getting a little worried. I'm not getting any younger. What's happening? I'm feeling anxiety, because what if I'm just alone for the rest of my life, right? It's just this, you get into this sort of rabbit hole of, oh no, I don't have a partner. Oh no, I'm not going to have a partner for probably, I don't know, the next year or two. What if I don't have one ever? What if I'm alone for life? It's just this, that's what anxiety does to you, is it gets you in this rabbit hole of just endless possibilities. Because your brain, the reason why when you have anxiety, the reason why you end up in this rabbit hole of just sort of what you would call irrational thinking, is because your brain is trying to come up with some kind of solution. This is, again, going back into the ego. The ego likes to be in control. The ego likes to know what is going on, so that, because why? Because it's interested in survival. So your brain, naturally, it's just what it does. It tries to create a story or a solution to feel in control. So when you have anxiety and you're just like spiraling into this rabbit hole, it's because your brain is like, I need to figure out a logical explanation for what is going to happen so that I can feel in control. But how you stay in the present moment is to release that control. And I know it sounds crazy. It's just like, how can I get in control of my life by releasing control? Well, you just have to accept that there's things you cannot change. You have to accept that there's things you won't know and you don't know, because all you ever have is right now. That's all you ever have. Nothing else before or after is what is happening now. All you ever have is right now. In fact, for myself, I used to have debilitating anxiety. It was to the point where it was, I think I had been hospitalized a couple times. Well, maybe twice. So it wasn't a couple times, but it was enough to be out of control. Like, there's this one time I was hospitalized because my resting heart rate was, I think it was like 130. And if you don't know what your normal resting heart rate is supposed to be, it's supposed to be between 60 and 100. And mine, and even 100 is kind of elevated. But mine was at 130 without activity. I'm just sitting, and it was 130. I felt out of my mind, felt like I was dying, felt like, and that's really what a panic attack feels like. And it's because I remember when I think back to that panic attack, all I could think about is how I wasn't in control of anything. And I was thinking about the future, thinking about the past, thinking about all the mistakes I had made, thinking about what might happen in the future as a result of my mistakes. But now I realize, whenever I can kind of feel anxiety arising, now I realize what helps me is staying present. And if that means breathing in and out, taking deep, deep breaths, that helps me stay centered and present in this moment. If I can just look around and say things like, okay, that door in front of me is a white door. Okay, that hamper, because I'm looking at a hamper right now, that hamper is saying things and reminding myself of things that are happening right now in the now moment, is really how it helps me with my anxiety these days. I don't really have debilitating anxiety. I don't really get panic attacks anymore. And honestly, it's largely as a result of staying present, meditation, things like that. But really, when you're in the midst of a panic attack, meditation's not going to help you. Trust me. It's not. It's really about just deep breathing and trying to stay centered in the present moment, trying to really get a hold of the fact that you are right here, right now. Nothing before and nothing after any control of that. You just have control of right here, right now. And I'll tell you, staying either in the past or the future on a consistent basis keeps you trapped. It keeps you either comparing yourself to the you in the present moment or comparing others to the present moment. And freedom happens when we release the need to know what will happen in the future or to dwell on what already has happened, because neither of those things actually exist in the present moment once again. And I want to note, it's not bad to think about the past or think about the future from time to time. What I'm talking about is doing it on a consistent basis, because most of our minds are actually constantly shifting between past and future. I'm talking about people who do this routinely, daily, hourly, every minute. And the challenge, it really is getting your mind to be right here, right now. It is a lot harder than it sounds. It's not easy. It takes practice. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of, deep breathing exercises, a lot of awareness is really what it is. And ever notice whenever something exciting is happening in your life, your mind jumps to either hanging on to it for as long as possible or the sadness of it eventually being over? See, both of these things stop you from actually being present. Being present means accepting every moment as it is. That's why it's so hard, is because you have to accept even the things you don't want to accept. So that means, for example, when you see your long distance boo for a short period of time, enjoying each moment as it comes and accepting when it's time to go and being filled with gratitude that you had those moments when you did. And that's just a random example. It could also be, not everything has to be about a boo. Like, it could also be maybe you are going on vacation, right, with your friends. And the tendency is to, when you're there, you're like, yeah, I'm so excited. Woo! I'm in Bora Bora or whatever. But then, maybe a day passes or two and you're like, oh my God, this is going to end. Eventually this is going to end. Oh no, no. And you're already jumping ahead to, okay, I got to get ready for work. Okay, I got to do this. And you're doing everything but enjoying the present moment. And now the present moment has past you because you're so worried about it being over that you don't even get to enjoy it as it is. So we really want to accept and be thankful and filled with gratitude for each moment as it comes. That's how life gets expansive. Like, just imagine yourself right now in Bora Bora, right? Not thinking about work, not thinking about what's going to happen afterwards, but thinking about just enjoying each and every moment, being in that blue water, walking across the, I don't know, I feel like what do you call them? Are they huts? I don't want to call them huts. That's not what they are, but they have like these like wooden type houses or hotel things in the water. Oh my God, my vocabulary, my lexicon is not good today. But just like imagine yourself taking in every moment, waking up to the sun, waking up to the blue water. Just imagine yourself enjoying each and every moment when you have something exciting going on, as opposed to, oh no, it's going to end. On the flip side, a lot of us, when we're in anticipation of something coming up, like say that vacation is coming up and you're at work or doing your daily activities leading up to that time, you're just like, oh, okay, I need the days to pass by so I can be in Bora Bora. Oh, okay, I need to just get through everything. Okay, there's 5 days left. Okay, 4 days. Okay, 3 days. Again, you're also still not being present because you're in anticipation of something that's going to happen way later. Just be in the moment. Yeah, you're going to work. Maybe you don't like where you work. Maybe you don't exactly enjoy all the responsibilities and things you have to do when you're not on vacation. But if we can just learn to be in the moment each and every moment and find the joy in each and every moment and find something good about it, again, life becomes more expansive. So when you're waiting for your vacation, instead of just thinking, oh, I got to clock into this place, I got to work 8 hours a day. Okay, let me get my little calendar and track how many days I have left. What if you just stay in the moment and you're like, okay, this work right here, this clocking in and clocking out, this is paying for my livelihood. Let me stay present. Whether you're doing office work or you're working with patients, let me stay present with them. Let me stay present with my coworkers. Let me be in the moment. I'm telling you, life becomes way more expansive when you can find joy in each and every moment. So to recap, acceptance is a huge part of staying present. No one said we are going to always like what is going on in the present, but acceptance is critical to staying present because acceptance is releasing control. And also, if we can find the joy in each moment, even if we don't like it, we can release that need to feel in control, and we can learn how to stay present. And focusing on the future and the past and everything but what is going on in the present is our attempt of staying in control. But when you realize that the only thing you can control is yourself, it makes accepting the present moment so much easier, come what may. Accepting the things we have no control over brings so much peace because it releases us from shame, guilt, and the responsibility of things that aren't our responsibility. Because once again, you cannot control anything that goes on outside of you. The only thing you can control is yourself and how you feel. And before I forget, the quote for this week is remain open. There is something bigger than you know going on here by Miss Iyanla Vanzant. Iyanla Vanzant is a spiritual teacher and an author. And the reason I picked this quote is because I really want to emphasize that when you stay present, what it requires is releasing control and understanding that there is so much more going on in this life than just what we can control and what we can get our hands on. You know what I mean? In a sense that, and I don't want to speak anything negative into the atmosphere, but you could have something here today and it could be gone tomorrow. And what are you going to do? Well, you got to adjust. When that moment comes, you got to adjust. You have to realize that you don't have control over that. There's so much more than just what goes on within us. There's things outside of us that happen and that we have no control over. And we have to just accept that and let that be and have the understanding that that's okay. As long as I stay right here in this moment and as long as I accept that I don't have control, then I'm at peace. You're completely at peace because you're free from that responsibility. You're free from trying to control everything else and trying to control everyone else, because the only thing now that you have to worry about is controlling your own self. How freeing is that? That's a lot less complicated than worrying about what's going on in your past, what's going on in your future, what's going on with everybody else. Just imagine only taking accountability for yourself and only doing so in each moment. How much more freeing that is. I promise you, it's incredibly freeing. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. And thank you to all the people who left reviews. They are amazing. These reviews are so amazing. I'm so thankful. I hope that you have a good rest of your week. Thank you so much for tuning in.